Oh my gosh, you're here!
Welcome to My Chatbot Life, where chatbot marketers share high converting strategies in this new conversational marketplace. Each week, MKJ introduces you to bot builders who are just like you, a little techie, a little markety, and a whole lot of geeky. Buckle up as Chatbot Mom enjoys another journey into My Chatbot Life.
Hey there, bot buddies. You know who I am. Mary Catherine Johnson, MKJ, Chatbot Mom, whatever. Call me whatever you want. Just like the old saying goes, just don't call me late for dinner or dessert, mainly for me. So I get to chat with one of my favorite people. I'm telling you, this has been an amazing ride since I met this gentleman through another amazing person, Jamie Masters. And we have interacted in many different ways since then, since we first met just a couple of months ago.
April.
Yeah, this is crazy. So, hey, this guy on the screen, black and white, I get it. It's just roll with it. Chad Collins, who is the founder of Collins Commerce and host of the incredible Marketing on Demand show. Hello there, Chad. How you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me on, Mare.
Yeah. Did I get enough intrigue in there to kind of bring people in?
I hope so. I hope so. We have a lot to talk about. So
we do. So let's start with all that stuff on your back wall there. What does all that represent? I think that'll start the conversation off nicely.
Wow. Well, yeah, you could see that I'm a kid at heart right off the bat. If you're just listening to this, the behind me is a wall littered with plush toys and Lego and Minecraft stuff and Yoda. I love Yoda. So a lot of it represents my primary focus for the last 6 years, which has been producing massive live family events. So we host pre-COVID, right? And we're going to get to that, I'm sure. Live family events, our flagship show is Brickfest Live, which is a Lego convention that we've been running since 2014. And all the way, we have several productions, but another one that I'll mention here is called Comic-Con for Kids. If you know what Comic-Con is, oftentimes they're made for adults, right? It's the parents dragging their kids around. And we thought, how about we flip the script on that and create a Comic-Con that's just for kids, where we bring in social influencers and the superheroes that they like. And just make it a really fun environment. But the shows that we produce and have produced for some time are large scale events. We're talking about selling out the LA Convention Center, having 8,000 to 20,000 attendees a weekend, and doing it 15 to 25 times a year, depending on the year. So, so as you can imagine, when all of this stuff went down in mid-March, it threw us for a loop, and I'm sure we'll get to all that stuff.
Yeah. Let's jump right into that. But I'll tell you guys, if you want to hear more about that story, go check out the Marketing on Demand podcast. Check out that show because I know that Chad's going to go into his origin story and how this all happened. It's a really cool story with him and his daughter. So you got to go listen to that. But we're going to dive into. This is a perfect example of how to talk about this buzzword of pivot, right? Or this buzzword of switch directions or anything like that. So what happened in March? What did you do?
Oh man, it was brutal. So in March, we all watched as Mark Cuban, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, got that text on his cell phone that the season was going to be postponed, and he actually broke the news to the officials there at the game. And I was sitting on the couch next to my wife, and she looked over and I had a tear dropping down. And at that moment, I knew there are big changes ahead. The next day, came into the office, and that's when the NHL and several other big events had postponed their seasons. We were getting ready for a run of something like 7 conventions in an 8 or 9 week period. Our team was literally getting ready to jump on planes and head out to produce these shows, and had to stand it up in front of the company and basically say, we're suspending business operations for the foreseeable future. And I wrote a post about it I put it on my Facebook page. I called it Confessions of an Entrepreneur, because there are so many of us that are in this space that are doing it. And we often talk about the good, right? We hold up the awards. We, in my case, it was like, hey, look, here's a media event that they're doing on this production. Because every city we went to, of course, the local media wanted to come out and talk about what was happening in the community. And if I was there, I was the person that was, on screen. So we're sharing all this stuff all the time, all this, wildly, interesting stuff that people would look at and be like, wow, that's really interesting. Well, the flip side of entrepreneurship is what? These events happen that in this case are completely out of our control, and we're not going to be sharing that happy stuff for a while. And I really thought that the reason I wrote this post and talked, in detail, very raw, about the emotions and what it meant for me and what it meant for our team, is that because you have to share this stuff, it humanizes you and shows that, like, wow, like this stuff is really impactful, and the not so fun stuff comes along with all the really great fun stuff. So I looked back and thought, well, what has made, of the last 24 and 30 to 36 months, what were the biggest needle movers in my business? And really, that was like the thought that I had, like, after this whole thing went down and you have a week to sit back and we know we're not going to be producing shows anymore. It was, what were the biggest needles in my business for the last 24 or 36 months? What did we do to be able to sell out these events? What were we doing that other people weren't doing? Right. Yeah. And I looked back, and the reason that I connected with Mary was because we were leveraging text message marketing. Mm-hmm. And to the tune of, hundreds of thousands of messages going out every single week for our events. And we were doing it at a scale and at a clip that really hasn't been seen, especially in the event space. So I was like, well, if this is working in the event space, this could really be working for all types of commerce, whether you're an influencer, whether you're an e-com brand, you're a course creator, you're an author, like whatever it is. If you're able to communicate on using a chatbot, or you're able to communicate on email, then text messaging should certainly be a communication methodology that you should have in your business. And given the experience that we had with it in our company, I thought, what if I just reach out to a bunch of my friends and see who they know, and maybe we can get a whole band together and we could talk about text message marketing. So that's how we connected. We went and hosted a summit right away, the Text Message Marketing Summit. And that really started me on this path now to lean into another one of my passions. So you can see right behind me, I love Lego. As a Lego kid, experienced Lego with my daughter. That's why we created a Lego event. And now learning marketing and being passionate about marketing was, well, let's build an audience around marketing. And I genuinely believe, and I know your audience, MK, they trust you. There's a lot of different places people could go for the same thing, but they are in your audience and they want to work with you because of the relationship that you built with them. And being in this space now where I get to help other entrepreneurs and other businesses with, whether it be text messaging or what I now call marketing on demand, they can look at the body of work that we've had and maybe want to hang out with someone that's going to come on the screen in black and white and wears his hat backwards. I don't know.
and plays with Legos on his off time.
And plays, and has a desk full of Lego. Yeah,
totally. And there's so many things we got to unpack with that, but I want to take just a couple first. So number one, tell me, because this is an issue. I don't care where people are listening, Bot Buddies, wherever you are in your business, right? If you are you consider yourself a freelancer and you're just doing gigs, you're just building bots or doing conversational design or doing text marketing or email or whatever, just for the next gig. Or if you actually have a 10K per month, 20K per month agency where you have clients on retainer and and everything in between.
Yep.
Think about what Chad just said. He was in the big game with these incredible events, serving tons of people probably millions, I would imagine, over the 6 years you're talking about.
Yeah.
Millions of people that would go through his events and have a transformation and have fun and have this experience with him. And now that's gone. So he's got to go step back and look at what is it that I can provide in value now based on what the experience I've had with these events. And he had to just flip that mindset. So first I want to talk about that, and then I'm going to get into more of a business time perspective. But tell me, what did that, I get it, the raw, I get it, the week that was, kind of depression or, something similar to just kind of like, wallow in it for a bit, because we have to do that as humans. We do have feelings, right? But then what was the mindset shift you had to make to be able to quickly change from, all right, now I'm an event guy, to, all right, now I'm a marketing guy, teaching people or helping people understand how they can use text message marketing in their businesses?
I love this question. So thank you for this. If you're a marketing first business, so I looked at it as, and I think a lot of businesses, if you're scaling quickly, you have to look at it from a marketing cap, right? Like, you have this great service, you have this engine that you've built. And in our case, that engine was a group of 25 to 30 dedicated event producers that could go out and deliver on the promises that we were making our audience in our marketing material, right? So it was a really great match. And at some point, just like when you start any business, when you start the business, you're doing all the things, right? Like, you're literally doing it all. And then you're bringing in someone to then take this one part of it. You're bringing someone else in to take this other part of it. And we got to the point where the leadership team was primarily not required to go to an event that we were producing. So think about that. We're able to produce a show that's going to have 15,000 people walk through the door, and the founder of the company doesn't have to be there for it, right? My mind was, my role had shifted from operator of the event to operator of what I call the internal marketing agency that we built inside of our company. Mm-hmm. So that marketing agency that we built inside of our company drove all of the revenue, drove all of the sales, made sure that people were coming through the turnstiles at the shows, which enabled, right, all of that other stuff to happen. Mm-hmm. So when everything went down, right, in March, for me to go to, well, we've done all this marketing stuff. It seemed really natural for me, because my mind had always been in for years. My mind had been in the marketing space. I was always learning and staying on top of what is the newest, latest, greatest way to ensure my message is going to reach my community or reach my audience. And were we kind of forced into that a certain way? Yes, because we see, everyone sees like email open rates going down. Well, how can I get my message across? We found text messaging. It was like, oh, cool. Like, wow, now we're back, right? Yeah. So for me to go into this space where, all right, let's take a step back. This internal marketing agency that I built is gone because we have nothing to market anymore. Right. We have no promises to deliver on, or at least not for a long while. How could I then go start talking about this? I just wanted to have fun. So at the end of the day, it was, what can I do to still show up every day, keep myself busy, keep myself current on what's happening. So when things do eventually start to turn back on again, we don't have to relearn. We don't have to
catch up.
Yeah. We could literally just, get the band back together and we can start producing these shows again. So that was the mentality in those early days. And I'll tell you what, even since then, that has shifted. Still, it continues to shift, because we're talking about the Marketing on Demand show right now, right? This new podcast. That wasn't a thought back in April when we did the Tech Summit. So there were a bunch of different things that we tried. And some stuff worked and some stuff didn't work. And now we're just in the place of, let's geek out about marketing and create a community of people that are as excited about it as we are, and serve them the best we can with just cool, wholesome, free content without this ulterior motive of like, yes, join me on a Zoom and there's going to be like a $2,000-$3,000 sale at the end. Right. Not that there's anything wrong with that if that's what you're doing, but what we want to do right now is just build a community of people that enjoy learning and hanging out with other like-minded people about marketing. And when the time is right, if it ever comes to be, then, you know, maybe there'll be an offer, maybe there'll be a mastermind, maybe there'll be this, maybe there'll be that. But we're not starting with that in mind. We're starting with create the content and the audience.
Serve the audience. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And then they will tell you what they need.
Yeah. And then we could say, cool, we're going to do a Zoom, jump on, let's dive deeper.
Yeah. They will tell you, you know what, you're doing this great. You know, I need help with this. And they'll tell you exactly what it is they need to have. And you are the person they're telling, because you will be the person who can best serve them with that. So in that sense, you didn't really have to make a mindset shift to a certain extent. You were already in the marketing. You just had to make that your number one focus, not for events, but for the fact of you have this knowledge and you want to now share it with the world of what you were able to do with those events.
It's the knowledge and the passion. I think I want to go back to passion, because I look back at, and this is again, me like looking back, I look back at what made the live event stuff happen. And as you mentioned, like I talk about the origin story on the show, but Jordan and I, my daughter, we created all of this content, right? We created 500 videos on YouTube, and we didn't have any thought of turning that into a live event production company, right? We just put this content out there because we loved it. So it was like, okay, well, that seemed to work. Well, guess what? I'm just going to put a whole bunch of content out there about marketing stuff. And yeah, and now with all the knowledge that I learned in the last 7 years, I mean, clearly there are some things that we could do to get the message in front of the right people at the right time.
Yeah. And that's it. I mean, it's the same, your same MO, right? But it's in a little bit of a different direction, but it's still a passion of yours. Yeah. So in terms of that mindset shift, really, it wasn't like this huge aha that you're going to shift gears and all that. It really is just, well, if that worked and I really had fun doing that, and that brought a lot of amazing transformation to a lot of people, then I can just take that same concept and do it over here and have fun and bring an amazing transformation and make an impact here. Yeah, it's the same concept.
Yeah, it's basically take that formula and just apply it to a different passion. Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Fantastic. Now there's lots of business mistakes. Like you said, there were some things that you tried that didn't work, right? And some things that did. So take me through the biggest business mistake in that adventure, and how did you overcome it?
So now that I'm in this point of like starting over again, like it kind of feels like starting over again. You get to look back and you get to be like, all right, cool. Like what did we do to grow we grew really fast and had this major impact on millions of people. Like what did we do? Like if we were to do it again now, right, is kind of your question. Like what did we learn from that we could change? And the number one thing that I would say is to hire A-level talent first. And that's not at any way to say that, like I wouldn't change what I did the first time around. I would not change what I did the first time around, but because I needed that to learn. But doing it again, starting over again, surrounding yourself with A-list talent or people that really have a great understanding of what your goals, and they're aligned with your goals, but they could achieve it without you, like the proprietor, needing to do all the things, is huge. So yeah, it all comes down to who you're surrounding yourself with, and making sure that they're not a drag on you, right? Because as the proprietor, as a true bred entrepreneur, it could feel like there's a lot of people that are a drag because you just want to move so darn fast because you have it all figured out up here, right? And then, and then, but you need help to make it a reality. You can't do it all yourself, or you could do it for a little while, but it's not sustainable. And if you're able to bring people in that get it and that understand that mentality and that are okay with it, because lots of people can't survive in that environment, or it's too much, or, you know, they feel like they can't keep up, and then they have self-doubt. I mean, there's a lot of things. I would say that surrounding yourself with the right people and bringing on someone that understands your mission, that understands your personality type, and that is okay with complementing your personality type instead of trying to change your personality type, is that's number one for sure.
Absolutely, I would agree. And that the only thing I would add to that too is to create a culture, even if it's just you and one other person, to create a culture where it's okay, where people bring question to what you're doing, that they trust you and you trust them enough to don't just listen and perform the way you want it done, but hopefully you hire people that are smarter than you, or that are at least as smart or smarter in other areas, so that when you come to a meeting of, okay, this is what we're going to do, and this is what I want to have happen, and this is how we're going to do it, they can go, okay, well, wait a minute, why are we doing it this way when this way would be easier?
And the sooner you understand your own shortcomings,
yes.
so like that's the other thing that has been like throughout any entrepreneurial journey that you'll figure out is like, man, like I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this one thing.
Yeah.
Well, once you can identify that and be like, I'm not good at this, but I know how important this one thing is, and then finding someone that is good at that and they love that thing. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
You could have a conversation, be like, that thing, like whatever it is. Say it's writing. So I need to get an email out, but I want to write about this, but you feel like you're not good at writing, but you bring in someone that's an awesome writer that could be like, okay, they could just ask you like 4 questions and then you answer them and like, all right, I got it. Like,
and they do it, and they do the thing, and they do it amazingly well.
Yeah. So like that, it's super important. So digging in and figuring out yourself, like, what am I good at? What am I not good at? What do I like to do? What do I don't like to do? And you kind of plot it out and then find the things that like are really important that you don't like to do. And
fantastic. So I know there are people in the audience that probably are not at that level where they're hiring someone, or they're, taking on that. They're probably looking at maybe contractors or just still doing it all themselves. So I want to speak to that for a second and say the decisions you make every day are going to impact ultimately the opportunities you have. So when Chad talked about his story and he's like, okay, my daughter and I, 500 videos, YouTube, having fun with Legos, doing the thing, then that basically turned itself into these events. And now I've got these events, but then I was able to take myself out of the events after I started and produced all of them and showed up at the shows and did all the things and knocked myself out. But now I'm taking myself out of it and hiring other people to do those things. And now I took on the role of marketer. So you see, each of those decisions, he could have stayed in there. He could have stayed as the operator and hired someone else as a marketer. He could have hired a marketing agency and just gone and done that. And if that's what he really loved doing. But no matter what, he had to segment those things, because as you grow, you have to do that. You cannot do it all. So those decisions, now he would be doing a totally different type of summit if that's what he would have chosen to do. So every day you have to look at yourself. Am I committed to this thing? If you're a chatbot marketer, you're a chatbot builder, you're an agency owner, whatever it is, stay committed to that. Don't switch gears. Don't go when it's hard. I'm like, okay, never mind. I don't think I'm going to do chatbot marketing. Maybe I'll go do ClickFunnels building, right? I mean, if that's really what you want to do, but stick with it, because when you dive deep into something, that presents opportunities that no one else has, that's only on the surface. And so when you dive deep like that, you create opportunities for yourself, and you give yourself skills that when life shifts, I said SHIFT, right? But I could easily say the other one without the F, right? When that happens, you will have skills at a deep level that you can then pivot and do other things with. But if you're just a surface, you're not diving deep enough into any one thing to really be able to have that depth of knowledge and passion. Would you say that that's where you have come to now, Chad?
Yeah, I mean, from a marketing standpoint, I definitely have gone deep. There's no doubt about it. And the reason that the Lego events worked when they did is because we embedded ourselves in that community, right? And we did it because we loved it. We didn't do it necessarily because we thought there was a big, to do that would happen on the other side of it. But when you do dive deep, you start to be able to speak to that community and to your audience in a way that they understand. So, it's interesting. There's this notion that when you talk to large groups of people, to not use the words that only the enthusiasts use, right? So, an example of this would be, this is a funny example. So in the Lego community, there's something called snot, right? Or burp, right? So snot, because it's funny, stands for studs not on top. It's a building technique where you don't see any of the Lego studs, or the studs are facing a different direction, not on top, snot, right? But when you're speaking to that community in that space and embedding yourselves, you better darn use that language, because that's how they know that you are one of them, right?
You're legit. Yeah,
you're legit. So yeah, I mean, understanding that and being able to communicate in a way that that basically shows that community that you are one of them is super important. Now, I do agree that when you back all the way up and you do want to speak more generally, but yeah, I mean, yeah, that's important. There's one thing I wanted to add to what you said. For those that are doing this solo right now, or maybe there's you plus one or you plus a contractor, the biggest tip that I could give you when it comes to scaling, because at some point you're going to want to hire more than one person or two people or five people, is to take the things that you're doing right now on a daily basis and create a step-by-step guide as if you were going to teach someone else how to do the thing that you're doing, right? Like if you had to, whatever it is, the task that you think that only you could do, that you do every day or several times a week, if you had to teach someone else how to do it and you had to write a checklist to give to someone else so they could do the thing that you did, as complicated as you might think it is, take the time to create that checklist. And then when the time is right, hand that checklist to someone and see if they could follow it. Because once you do it right, once you do that the first time and you're like, oh my goodness, that thing that I thought only I could do, now someone else could do because they followed my guide from step one to step done, that'll be a game changer for you. And that will open up and be like, wow, well, what else can I write a guide for?
Yeah.
Right. And guess what? It might be cheaper for you to do it like that. And it will allow you to take a step back and then figure out, okay, well, what is this? Now that I don't have to do that anymore, that was taking 15 hours a week.
Yeah.
What can I do with those 15 hours now to work on my business?
And that is the most beautiful thing. Absolutely. I agree 100%. Bot buddies, everybody listening, you do that. Even if you're not planning on hiring anyone right now, believe me, when you get big enough and you're like, oh my gosh, I need someone, it's already too late. You've needed someone, a while ago. So if you have this done, you're ready, just in case. And not only that, it allows you to take your process and go, oh yeah, I've got a process. Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I can get that done. And yes, that is absolutely beautiful. And the best part about that is now, what are you freed up to do?
Right. What am I doing with this time?
That time. Now you can do other things.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, look, if you're like us, You have the list of back burner ideas. You have like
Yeah.
the list or the sticky notes of like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. And well,
Yeah.
now, great, now you can do those things.
Yeah, I have no shortage of things that I could spend time doing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's fantastic. All right. So we've gotten tips, we've gotten business mistakes and lessons learned that you can take from this. We've
Yep.
gotten mindset shifts that really are not necessarily, big, oh my gosh, this is a total shift, but it is in the sense that he understood how to take what he was doing now and just shift it over into a new passion. So that's brilliant, which of course I totally expected. So if that doesn't get you to really be intrigued about listening to the Marketing on Demand show, I don't know what will, because it's just more of him and guests that he brings on, like a Ryan Levesque, like a Pat Flynn, who are sharing that same level of passion and commitment and sharing their amazing marketing bombs. I mean, it just is amazing gold. So, all right. We're going to go way into your future because, of course, I know all of us are going to live to at least 150. So we're talking a long time away, right? And you have lived an incredible life and you're looking toward the golden years. And you look back on your life and you're like, okay, someone's going to write my biography. Someone's actually coming to you and going, Chad Collins, incredible life. I want to write your biography. What would the title of that book be?
The title of the book, and it's funny, my wife and I talk about this phrase all the time. It comes from an Eddie Vedder Pearl Jam quote, a song. So the line of the song is, I know that I'll live and I know that I'll die, but the in-between is mine. And so I think the book would be The In-Between.
Perfect. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And who's going to write that book for you?
So my buddy Ryan Haig would write the book. We've worked together on another book, and he's able to capture the Chad speak, if you would. He gets the flavor of my style, and and he's able to put my stories into words. So I know that already. So Ryan, if you're listening, be on deck be prepared for the next one. Yep.
Be prepared. Yes, you will be tasked to do this.
Yep.
And Ryan's looking back and going, wow, this amazing life. What quote would he say that you lived your life by?
I don't know. I think that he would say that Chad lived for the experience. And if I could just talk about that a little bit more, a lot of people collect stuff and things, and I collect experiences, and I've shared that philosophy and like with my family, and we talk about experiences all the time. And because the experiences are unique, right? They're one of a kind. And I'm definitely an experience chaser, and I like to experience new things with those that I love the most. So that's of course my wife and 2 kids. Yeah. So we do all kinds of neat stuff. And yeah, I think that's what, and by the way, entrepreneurship affords you to be able to do all kinds of cool stuff, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And have a huge impact and share that type of stuff with the ones you love the best. So I would say, he would say Chad lived for the experiences, and there'd be a lot of experiences that would be covered in the book.
In the book. Yeah. Who knows? Isn't that amazing? We can look forward and go, my gosh, what opportunities are there going to be in the next, 30 years for those kinds of experiences? How is the world going to change to allow us to experience more things more easily than we could, 100 years ago? How could you experience Europe? And look how long it took for people to go from the United States to Europe if they wanted to experience that. Now we can be there in a few hours. That I knew there was a reason we got along so well, and I was so drawn to you when you were first introduced. You're here. Amazing. You're absolutely, yes. Experiences are what life is made from. Otherwise, It's just existing to me anyway. Yeah. Yay. All right. We got this. Thank you. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for sharing your incredible wisdom with all of my bot buddies out there. And we look forward to marketing on demand, having a nice, long, beautiful life.
Beautiful. Well, it's been an honor. It's been an honor. And thanks so much for having me here and sharing me with your people.
Mm-hmm. Till next time.
Thanks for listening to the My Chatbot Life podcast. To watch this video chat, visit mychatbotlife.com and get all the rocket boosters you need for your own chatbot success.